Some seasons of life ask for patience we didn't plan for. When you are on fertility journey and the calendar can start to feel like a scoreboard, and every month can carry more weight than the last. Well, listeners, today on this episode of the Mindful Living podcast with your host Sana, that's me, we are slowing the pace and widening the lens beyond the lab results and protocols into the electrical, emotional, and subconscious signals that may be shaping fertility. Our guest has treated infertility for 17 years and she holds a doctorate in acupuncture and Oriental medicine. She proposes a powerful idea that fear, worry, and stress can keep the body and mind in a not ready loop, and what she calls Pregnancy Avoidant Syndrome. And that neuroplasticity tools can actually help shift that loop forward toward pregnancy ready. So, listeners, this conversation isn't a substitute for medical care, it's an invitation for us to understand our nervous system, our stories, our hope through science-backed, compassion-first practices. So, I invite all of you to take a breath and also to know that you are not behind. You are becoming. So, listeners, meet my incredible guest, Dr. Ann White. Dr. Ann, welcome to the show, and it's really an honor to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. I love that I'm here, and that was an excellent introduction, I'll tell you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ann. And I think this is such a crucial conversation. So let's start with naming the invisible here. What pregnancy avoidant syndrome? This is something that I haven't had, encountered, or I haven't heard about it. What does it look like on a day-to-day, basis or level?
It looks like a woman who is trying to get pregnant and no one has any answers for her. The doctors keep saying, oh, everything looks normal. Everything is good. Let's try another round of IUI or IVF, or just keep trying. Because there are deeper causes to not getting pregnant. And that's what Pregnancy Avoidant Syndrome speaks to.
Okay. That is interesting. And Dr. Ann, many women, and before that, like you say, which is something that I really am very curious to know. Like you say, fear, worry, and stress, it can keep the body in not ready mode. So as you shared about pregnancy avoidant syndrome, what are the everyday signs or symptoms to realize that someone might be in that particular state, even without realizing it?
The best way to do this is to keep tabs on how many times a day worry or fear come up for you. And it doesn't even have to be about fertility. It can be about really anything. Stress too. But, stress is rooted in fear, and so is worry. So the fear is our protective emotion. It's the emotion that was given to us to be able to survive. The problem is, in that survival, our body is electrically triggered to shut down reproduction. Because if there's something dangerous going on, which is what fear was meant to help protect us with, then it's not the right time to have a baby. If you just moved into a neighborhood of saber-toothed tigers, this is not the time to have a baby. And that's how our bodies interpret fear, especially a consistent message of fear.
I completely understand that. I think the key word here is, the consistent message of fear. Because when we are in that, that continuous state of fear or stress, and especially, I cannot relate to the pregnancy part, but then with burnout or any constant fear fear or stress, I think our body, it stops kind of responding to anything that would usually make us relaxed or make us happy or joyous. And, we all always talk about hormones and the moods. And, when it comes to this particular aspect here, especially for women. So I think it's very, very crucial to understand what exactly happens, like, BTS behind the stage, like inside
Okay.
what happens. So,
Yeah. So let's talk about women. I mean, for men, it's sort of the same thing, but you have to look at how hormones are made.
okay.
And cortisol is one of our stress hormones.
Yeah.
So cholesterol is the big building block for our hormones. Don't know if you knew that. Then it goes into something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is our master hormone. It takes two pathways after that. It can go the cortisol route or the DHEA route. DHEA is a building block for testosterone and estrogen, and progesterone can be on that cortisol pathway. Okay. Cortisol, when fear comes up, is utilized because it's how our body was built to survive.
Yeah.
When that happens, cortisol is stealing the building blocks from our other hormones, causing hormonal imbalances, especially with progesterone. And in terms of pregnancy, progesterone is the most important hormone to be able to not only implant the baby, right, into the uterine lining, but also to carry that pregnancy. But if we're talking about women in menopause, and I see, I've been treating women for 17 years. So if we're talking women in any times of their life, because PMS, menopausal issues, all of these other things can also be tracked back to this hormonal imbalance caused by fear,
And stress.
caused by stress, caused by worry, impatience, frustration. Because if you drill down on those negative emotions, if you say to yourself, okay, why am I feeling those things? And you keep drilling down, you're going to find fear.
Understood.
Fear's the core.
Yeah.
And does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense, Dr. Annie, especially for women. I think this, there are subtle ways, how fear, worry, or stress, it can really make our body, in that not ready mode. And do you see any kind of societal reasons also contributing into this? Because I personally, for me, I think that, plays a huge role in here. And that kind of translates into the physical reactions or, the symptoms or the signals that our body gives.
Can I ask you to give me a little more on that? When you say societal, do you mean stress or pressure or what? Yeah. Can you give me a little more on that?
Yeah. So stress and pressure, which is kind of, coming from this, assumption that as a woman, I have to perform multiple roles and I have to be kind of a perfect one performing in everything.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
ideal daughter-in-law or daughter or mother or wife. Or as a working woman, I have to perform professionally. I have to also perform, personally as well. So yeah, from there.
At home. Yes. Definitely. And I do think that this is worldwide because there is a lot of pressure and expectation put on women, also on men. But women's hormones are so much more complicated and so much more sensitive than men's that it really does affect us more than it affects men. And you can see that globally in rates of infertility rising, menopausal issues, PMS issues, and we could go on with the hormonal challenges that women face throughout their lifetimes. And that's only gotten worse, as you're saying.
I agree. And, going back to the neuroplasticity part, and, as you very quickly give an example, of the saber-toothed and that entire, neighborhood thing. So when we come to neuroplasticity, like in simple terms for women, Dr. Ann, like under fertility stress, how do the neuroplasticity tools help a woman's brain body relearn safety around pregnancy?
Mhm. This is going to be a little bit longer answer, and I hope that's okay. Yeah. Um, I noticed working with women over 17 years that fear and worry and stress were the biggest cause that delayed pregnancy, right? And so in the beginning, I was like, oh, let's just tell them to stop stressing, which I'm actually very surprised I didn't get my eyes poked out with a knife at one point, because that's terrible advice. It's not possible when you want something more than anything, and it's not happening. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, okay, how do I solve this without going directly to let's minimize stress and worry? That gets us to neuroplasticity. The law of neuroplasticity states any thought that you think strengthens the corresponding neural networks in your brain. Ergo, negative thoughts strengthen the negative ones. Positive thoughts strengthen the positive ones. This is simplifying a little bit, but science has proven this to be true. And they are distinct pathways in the brain. Science has also proven this to be true. So, very simply stated, if you use exercises on a consistent basis that can build those positive parts of your brain, then when those negative thoughts come up, you don't just default to that freight train going down the path to Doomsville. You have a choice, and you can better handle it, not spin out, not stay on that stress pathway. I call it, the path to Calm Town or the path to Stressville, if that makes sense. I have other analogies if you want me to go deeper into that, but I don't want to science out on you, because I could for like an hour.
No, no, but that is so interesting, and I think the best part here is that this is not, like many people would call it, it's all woo, it's all in your head. This is something, but I think, as you mentioned, that this is proven by science, and through the years, I have actually observed others. I am trying to observe myself as well, very mindfully, that how negative thoughts are affecting me, how positive thoughts are affecting me. So I think this is so much in there. It is there, but somehow, especially we women, we kind of unsee it.
Right? And you're so right. This is all scientifically proven. And it was so interesting through the pandemic and COVID that depression and anxiety rates went through the roof. Why? Because all of us were in this fear-based mode, of course. We think we're going to go out of the house and we don't have a mask on and somebody in our family's going to die. I mean, I'm not faulting anyone on this, because that was very tricky. And I don't fault anyone for their thoughts, because a lot of times, and we don't have to get into this today, but those thoughts are rooted in subconscious fears that we learned a really long time ago. So by rewiring, you can actually change the way that the brain responds. And what I see with women that I work with, it's funny because they'll come to me, and especially on the fertility journey, it's so stressful, it's hard, that they'll be at a 10 of 10 of stress. And after a month of using these tools, it'll drop in half, which is, we're never going to eliminate all fear, nor do we want to. We need it. It is a protective emotion, but minimizing it is so key.
I think, it's definitely flipping the script here, because you're treating this as a skill building for women, not as, kind of a layman there. And I think that distinction, it gives us that sovereignty, that agency over our health, over our identity, over our subconscious, over our thoughts and mindset.
That's exactly right. It's tools that we can use it's just like if you came to me and you were like, hey, Dr. Ann, I really want huge bicep muscles. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I've got these exercises for you. If you do them every single day and you're very consistent with them, that's what's going to happen. This is not muscles, but it's the exact same concept in the brain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Building your happy muscles.
Yes, totally. So, Dr. Anna, if our listeners, especially women, and not only women, but men as well, if they would like to start, with the most, fundamental, start on this journey, explore more, and also around your work, and they would like to connect with you, what would be the easiest way?
Well, the easiest way is drannewhite.com, DOCTORANNE That's the easiest way to get me. Do we have just like 2 minutes that I could give a quick tool that people could use right away?
Well, I was just
Would that be good? And this is for men and women, okay?
Go ahead, Dr.
All right. So when that fear comes up, and you might not catch it right away, but I want you to pause and take a second, and I want you to put one hand over your heart and one hand over your lower belly. I want you to breathe in for 5 counts, breathe out for 5 counts. As you breathe in, I want you to feel that hand on your lower belly go out toward the opposite wall. Then you know you're doing diaphragmatic breathing, which gives a very strong signal to your body that there is no danger right now. We're not going to run. We're not going to fight. Then, in your mind, repeat to yourself, I'm safe. I'm not in a life or death situation right now. I'm safe. I'm not in a life or death situation right now. Keep doing this as you feel your breath go all the way down into that lower belly until you're calm again. And the reason that I say that statement is because the mind can't fight against that. If you are in a life or death situation, I highly recommend you not do this and you run. But if you're not, then your mind won't fight against it. Like if people say something like, I'm safe, I'm happy, the mind can go on this whole trajectory. But I'm not in a life or death situation right now is going to always be true.
That's quite an effective one. It's a really good one. And I urge all of our listeners to try this out. Not only the women, but the men out there as well. And Dr. Ann, thank you. Thank you so much. Even if this was a very quick kind of, explanation, I think we really, really, at least, we got started with this realization, this understanding that, yes, relief, grief, or flicker of hope, we have to honor that. And our body isn't our enemy. It is our messenger. It gives us
100%.
And small, consistent, repeatable practices and a tool like this, I think they can help our brain body remember safety. So thank you so much, Dr. Ann.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me. I loved being here.
Thank you. And to all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Mindful Living. So to connect with Dr. Ann, just refer to the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And all I could say here is start small, stay kind, and let consistency do the heavy lifting for you. Thank you so much.